Recreation. Again, we're still staying on the theme of focusing on the resource, and this one is about innovative finance. And I would like to invite Seth Brown, who is a senior associate from Quantified Venture, and Tony Scardina, who is the forest supervisor of the Wayne National Forest in Ohio, up to the stage to join me here. And they will be talking about innovative finance for sustainable recreation infrastructure and rural communities. Thank you.
What an opportunity we have. There are adjacent bike trails on state ground. We have bike trails on the city park. We have a connecting paved bike way, and this piece of ground could tie all of this together and make it a regional destination.
I have seen mountain bike tourism become a real driving force in a lot of communities all around the world. The ultimate goal should be to create somewhere where people really want to be and want to spend time.
You have a community like Chauncey that has a huge village park, and right now there's a barrier called West Bailey Run, and being able to connect across that and into purpose-built trails, we know that we're going to be able to increase use in that park for those community members and leave something lasting for generations.
We are working with the Athens Bicycle Club, but they also have the Athens County Commissioners and the Athens County Planner, the Athens County Visitors Bureau, all very excited and interested in this trail.
I personally, as a business owner and a cyclist, am so excited to see what this can do for our area. We already see a lot of business from the Lake Hope trails, the Stroud's Run trails, and the Hockhocking-Adena Bikeway, and to think about this trail being basically right in the middle of all that, right out our back door here in Nelsonville, you know it's going to have a giant impact.
I mean, you have a ton of data that says that mountain biking trail systems and access to trail systems have social benefits, have health benefits, have quality of life benefits, have intangible benefits of what it means when you are a citizen of this area and you see somebody from 200 to 300, 400 miles away coming to your town. That changes your relationship with people in place.
The university community has embraced this project because they realize what it can also do, not just for the university, but for the community at large. If this trail system can bring people to Southeast Ohio and then allow them to explore the various other aspects of our community, it's going to be a win for everybody.
Can you hear me? There we go. Pretty inspiring video, right? I think we're done. I don't have to present anymore. But the other part of this story is about the complexities in a community in Southeast Ohio and what it takes to create what may be the largest connected mountain bike trail system east of the Mississippi. Athens, Ohio, and Athens County is an amazing place with amazing people, and I've lived in lots of places in the country. But it's also a place that has the highest poverty rate in the state of Ohio. 30% poverty rate, which is twice the national and state average. But luckily with that, Appalachia is tough. It's gritty people that are willing to overcome challenges if we can bring them together and convene people and collaborate to get something done. When you look at this project, we had a lot of barriers to overcome. And my slide's not changing. There you go. So we sat down with this group of people and we said, what are the challenges? You have a community that has barriers, but tired of the status quo. They wanted to overcome the economic, social, environmental challenges that they've been dealing with for a long time. And ironically, the Wayne National Forest and its employees looked at themselves as a small forest that most people didn't know about, nationally or regionally. We don't have the beautiful recreation icons that other places across the West and other places have that everybody knows about. And so it was a perfect recipe for success. Two underdogs, tired of the status quo, wanting to change things in their community. Within a very short period of time, as I got there 4 years ago, community members came to me and they said, we have a vision for a mountain bike project. And they've been working on that vision for 25 years, coming to the Forest Service saying, we want to see this vision happen. And they were frustrated because they kept getting the answer no. And they asked me what I thought. And I said, if this is what the community wants, and you're all willing to put the work in to make it happen, let's do it. And so just in a 3-year period, a working group was formed with local community members, the 2 Forest Service leaders you saw in the video, which I'm lucky to work for, that brought this together. Then you see things happening. You see the county commissioners. You see local groups creating money to build a master plan. College students doing all the field work and laying things out on the ground to make it happen. And then we had to get through that process of NEPA, our environmental compliance process, which in this case was done in 6 months and probably authorized under a categorical exclusion, 90 miles of trail, which I'm guessing could be the largest in the agency's history under a categorical exclusion. So this is a shovel-ready project. It's ready to go. But what's always that last barrier? Money, right? How do we implement this work? And luckily, through leaders in our Washington office, with National Forest Foundation and Quantified Ventures, we might have a new model, and we're pretty excited about it. And so Seth Brown today from Quantified Ventures is going to talk more about the pay-for-success model that may help us overcome this barrier.
So as you see on this slide, this grassroots community movement has had a lot of successes. They've achieved environmental approval in record time. They have a decision memo signed by the Forest Service. They are shovel ready, and yet they don't have any money. So how many projects do we know that die here? That a community wants, the Forest Service knows the benefits of, and yet it can't overcome that last hurdle of financing. Projects stop there, people stop there, and that's where we start. And that's where we got introduced to this project. So I'm here to talk about financing and funding and introduce you guys to a new model. There was a lot of what Tony talked about was about changing perceptions. So perceptions of Appalachia and Athens, perceptions of the U.S. Forest Service and in the Wayne in particular. And I'd like to extend that and talk about changing your perceptions of investors and what is investable to hopefully shift the way you look at outdoor recreation. So when I say an investor, I bet your brain goes to a suit in Wall Street or maybe someone in California putting money into tech. And that is true. Those are investors. But that's only part of the story. And there's a new investor out there that wants a financial return. Yes, they do. But they also want to have an impact. And they want to do good. And they want to put their money to good. And ideally, the best of both worlds would be they put their money to something where their return is actually tied to the social and environmental performance of their investment. And there's a new tool that allows that to happen called Pay for Success. And I'll talk about that in a second. On the video, you saw me talk a lot about the benefits of outdoor recreation. You wouldn't be in this room if you didn't inherently know those benefits. But what if we were able to focus on the benefits of outdoor rec, which agencies are already putting a lot of money into, but they probably think is unrelated to outdoor recreation? And I'm talking about economic development. We know that if we build this world premier trail system in southeastern Ohio, there's going to be an increase in visitation. And we know that those visitors, when they travel, are going to spend money. And we know that a portion of that money will stay within the local community, and that portion of money that stays in the local community will increase earnings for locals, increase job opportunities, and increase tax revenues. We know this. So if we were able to align the interests of the mountain biking community, which for 25 years has been trying to build a trail system, with the goals of impact investors who want to have a financial return and have an impact, to the efforts of local community leaders who for decades have been trying to drive economic growth and transition to a more diversified and sustainable economy, well, that's this model. You take private capital from an impact investor to build the trail system. You work with local governments who may be wary and skeptical of outdoor recreation's ability to drive economic growth, so you monitor and evaluate it using Ohio University and measure the impact. And when the impact is proven based on the visitation levels that we expect, those local governments will reimburse the investors plus interest, allowing their return to be tied to the impact they care about, which is improving local communities. And if we can do this, this project gets unstuck. It gets funded. But it also means that all these other projects that we think about can get unfunded, or gets unfunded and unstuck, and we can start addressing national issues across the entire country. And it's intentional, though. You're not looking from the perspective of just one stakeholder. You're looking at the goals of the community. And it starts with the leadership of the Forest Service, and it starts with the communities working together and being open and collaborative. And we're not there yet. We haven't finished. But if we can do this, we think this is unlocking something that has the ability to affect our funding streams nationwide.
Next slide. So just 2 weeks ago when I was preparing for this presentation, and I don't know if I should admit it as a forest supervisor, I learned we had a national trail strategy in the U.S. Forest Service. And I read it. I was afraid to because a lot of our strategies in the past have been bureaucratic and systematic and lacked innovation, but this one didn't. I said, oh my gosh, the things we've been doing for 3 years actually tied to the strategy. Somebody got this right. But it also validates that quote that Peter Drucker and the president of Ford put in place, that culture eats strategy for breakfast. We did not have a strategy. We had an organization that believed in collaboration and helping communities, and we had a community that was collaborative and wanted to change the status quo. They came together, and two underdogs, tired of the status quo, wanting to do something great in their community, are on the cusp of that. And so the only take point for me is that if this is something that we're going to do in communities across the country, our agencies and our partners have to take that strategy off the shelf and make it part of what we do every day. Thank you.